We're back at the allotment. It's Saturday the 14th of November. It's a drizzly wet day today, but there's a few jobs I wanted to get done, so I thought I'd come down anyway. It's sort of on and off rain, so hopefully it'll stop again in a little bit. So today I've brought down loads of stuff for the compost bin, filled that up a bit more. It's going down at an incredible rate. Every time I come down it's sort of full, and then when I come back a week later it's half empty again, which is obviously a really good sign. I'll probably try and turn it at some point so it's got a bit more, goes a bit better. So today's jobs, so a little bit of a check over the allotment and see what's going on, but also we're going to put some compost in the bed at the back. You can see the compost bag, and I'm going to plant garlic in there. I'm going to weed these two beds that had the sweet corn and squash plants in, and I might, if it's not too wet, I might plant the broad beans in there. I was going to plant some now, so they're a bit earlier next year, so they're up early next year, and we can have those before other things go in. Yeah, and a bit of a weed. There's not much weeding needs doing. There's a little bit in this charred bed, and I'll have a little look around. So progress wise, we've got our 3 beds here with red onions in. So I was just having a look at this one, and there's some nice shoots coming up already, which I'm quite surprised they come up that quick actually. That's only 2 weeks since we planted those, so that's a really good sign. And there's some in the other bed as well. This bed we planted last week, so I don't imagine there'll be much in there yet, but that's really good. This bed's still got the chard in, loads going really well. I'll weed that a little bit today, and I might harvest some going forward. So these two are empty at the moment. I'm going to put broad beans in here. I might wait until I've got some more compost in them, because this is the soil in these was from the compost bins on the allotments that everyone puts everything in. So it's not, there's a lot more weeds in those than the beds, like it's a good one to show you. So like these first beds, so these were the first 2 beds I put in, and these had soil improver and shop bought compost in. As you can see, I mean, I weeded them a couple of weeks ago, but it didn't really take very long, whereas those are quite weedy. So I might even dig out some of that soil and top it up with fresh compost. I don't want to sort of put myself into that every year. At the back here, this had the green beans in. They're definitely all dead now, so they can come out. I'll pull those poles down and do a bit of weeding. Like I said, this bed's going to have the garlic in, so I'm going to put the compost in, garlic in there, and then the other side, I'll just walk across. So this one's got the kale in, still very slowly growing away, although I think some of it might have actually been pecked away a bit by the birds, so I think we need to cover that up. These two, let's come across in the middle here. So this one's got chard in it. These were put in later, so they're a little bit smaller, but they're growing away. This side's got potatoes in, and they've come up more, so really happy with them. Surprised they've come up this early. That's awesome. And I put a row of chard in that I transplanted from another bed, so they're growing away in there. These two, more chard. We're going to be eating a lot of chard this winter, but it's something that will grow and something we could get in, so I'm happy to fill up the beds while we've got them. Yeah, so they're growing away really nicely, happy with those. And then these last 2 beds have got potatoes in, but not a lot happening in these yet, which is okay. We'll see, hopefully they'll come up next spring. All will be good. So first thing I'm going to do, get that compost in that bed and get the garlic cloves in. That's the bed with a few weeds taken out and a fresh bag of compost in, so it's filled it up nicely most of the way. So that's about where I want them all, height I want them all to be. Now we're getting second round of putting compost in stuff. Again, I've just reused the bag for these paths. These paths, I remember, you sort of forget in summer when it's nice and dry how clay and wet these paths get, really really I can see how much water sort of kept in them. And yeah, that's why one of the big reasons we did raised beds, no dig kind of stuff, because it's just so thick. Trying to dig that is a bit of a killer. So yeah, so I'm really glad we went for these raised beds, even though it took a lot of work to build them all. Yeah, one other thing I was going to show you is our collection of horse poo that I've been collecting. I brought down some more today. So we've now got these, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 big bags there that are composting down. Some of these have been here since the start of the year, so they'll be well composted. And I'm just sort of deciding what to do with them. I might, when I make a new bed over here, I might just fill it up with that and then use that for the pumpkins. So I think they need a lot of nutrients. So I'll research that a little bit before I do it. But I think that's probably what I'll do. And if not, I'll put them in the compost bed and just mix them all up in the bin. Yeah, so next job, plant out all these garlic bulbs. I've laid out all the bulbs on the top just so I can space them out. I had a quick look at the RHS website and it suggests 15 centimetres between bulbs and 30 centimetres between rows. So probably just a little bit less than that, but not far off. So I'm going to get them planted in the ground, in the soil, and then obviously don't need to water it in because it is absolutely chucking it down now. But at least it's nice and quiet down here. So yeah, I'll get on with that. All the garlic is in now, so I planted them just under 1 inch deep. I got all of those in, so hopefully we have lots of nice garlic next year and we can re-sow what we harvest next year, so we won't have to buy more garlic. Yeah, that's sort of the aim. So next job of the day is a bit of weeding. I remembered my gloves today, so I can get some of these prickly weeds out. And I think with this soil, I think I will bring down some compost another day looking at it, because it is quite rough. Might even dig out some of it. Last thing I want is to be weeding away in between the beans for ages. But yeah, that's good. So we've got a good range of stuff in. Every bed's full, or will be full. So we'll get the beans in here. I do have that bed at the back, is the only one that hasn't got anything in. So I'll have a little think about what else I could put in there. We do have some brassicas at home that we never got around to potting up. So maybe, I don't know if it's too late for them, maybe I'll have a look. Yeah, but if not, everything else is full, so I'm pretty pleased it's all in production. Yeah, and that stuff's coming up. So yeah, so I'm gonna do a bit of weeding. Rain's eased off again, so not too bad. I'm gonna leave this back bed. I was having a look at it and thinking about what to do. The beans, I'm actually gonna leave the plants in until we need the bed, because the roots will rot down and fix nitrogen in the bed. I was watching one of, I think it's Hugh's YouTube channel, and he was talking about leaving the roots in to rot down, and I think that's a good idea. So until we need to do something, I'll leave them in, and I might even cut the tops off when I do put something in it, so the roots can rot down in the soil. But I will pull out all the other weeds, all these kind of spiky weeds that we don't want growing in there and spreading. Yeah, that's another job. So that's the first bed weeded. It's looking better now. So I'll get some compost in there next week and get the beans in. To compare There's the other bed that had about the same amount in. To be fair to these beds, I haven't weeded these since I made them in probably about July. They had the sweet corn in, so as soon as the sweet corn's gone in, I haven't touched them. So they're not actually that bad. And I'm definitely reaping the reward of building raised beds now, not having to bend down so much to weed them and prepare them. So I'm loving that. I would be tempted in the future years. A lot of these have got enough space on the sort of uprights I've left. If I can get some more boards, I could put another layer on, get them a bit taller, and give the roots more space, because this soil's so hard that things can't get down into it anyway. So maybe that's a future project down the line. Certainly not for this year, but maybe if I come across some more free wood, that would be an idea. Yeah, so stop procrastinating now, and I'll weed that next bed. We're quite lucky at this allotment site that they do have quite a lot of shared resources. They've got quite a lot of these water tanks, and a lot of them are shared, so they're just coming off of different sheds and things. There's a shared shed that's got a lawnmower and stuff in we can use, but they also have this burn pile, so the weeds I don't want in my compost heap, because I don't want them back in my compost, I've chucked on here, and that gets burnt every so often. Get rid of all the weeds we don't want on site. And then there is compost bins as well on site, so some people use these, chuck some of their stuff in, and they've got little flags saying, so these ones are rotting down, and one of these was, so these ones have rotted down a bit. It's not the best compost, but it was good to get us started. So yeah, so it's quite good having all these shared amenities at this site. It means that I can get rid of the weeds we don't want on our in our compost bin. The rain's starting to really come down again now, so I'm gonna call it a day. But I've managed to do a tiny bit of weeding in the beans bed. I've done these two beds, so they're looking nice and clean now. I'll bring some compost down and get them sorted, ready to put the beans in. It's got the garlic in, so I'm really happy with that. So we've got garlic, we've got kale, we've got chard, we've got potatoes. We'll have beans in. We've got red onions. We've got 3 bedded red onions, more potatoes. Yeah, that's all looking really good. Lots of stuff in the ground, so I'm really happy with that. And now getting really wet. Just checked on the water butt. Last week I strengthened the back to make it stand up straight because it was starting to lean a bit. And I've just had a little look at that, and the rain's going in the water butt nicely. So I'm happy that's working. Yeah, and the allotment's looking nice and tidy for this time of year. Lots of allotments sort of get a bit raggedy this time of year, but this is really happy. It's looking nice. It's all got stuff in. I'm gonna have to get some netting or something for that back bed with the kale in. I've got sort of a green bird netting, so I might put that across it. I'll have to get some nails or something to attach it with, make sure they don't get stuck in it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this soggy allotment update. Hope you're all doing well, keeping well, and if you've got an allotment that you're got lots growing still, lots of plans ready for next year. I'm starting to think about sorting out my plan for next year and when we're going to sow everything, so I'm nice and organised. But yeah, I'll see you soon.